Let's try and do a Vue build with our awesome page here. So instead of only being local, as it is right now, local host, only our computer, and let's try to do a build so we can actually upload it to a hosting server, an FTP, so everyone online can actually see our page. Now we can't just upload all the files we have because browsers can't interpret .vue, it doesn't do Node.js, Node modules here, so we need to do a build where the system actually puts everything together into much fewer files, and let's try that. So we need to do a little fixing before it actually works completely, but we'll do that right now. Now the first thing I want to do is in my integrated terminal down here in Visual Studio Code, I just want to hit the plus sign so we have another terminal. So one where everything runs and a new one here where we're going to do a Vue build. Now I'm just going to, another npm, it's npm run build, and I'm just going to have this run while I talk, and this is going to build for production, and that means that whatever we created, it's going to be much less files, like in one HTML page and a lot of JavaScript, CSS files, and so on. Now once this is done, we should have something called a dist folder. As you see, it just pops up over here right now, dist. So if I open my folder and I go to my Vue YouTube starter here, I have now this folder called dist. And this is containing my CSS files. If I have images, it would be there, my favorite icons, and so on and so on. Let's just double click this, open it in my browser, and right now this is blank. And that's because of why, I actually don't know why it does this. Maybe it's different from countries, maybe US has a different way of doing things. I don't really know why they do this. But if we look into the page right here, this is totally unreadable. But as you can see, in front of many of these, there's a slash in front of the CSS, and that makes, at least on my computer, not work. So we need to be able to remove this on each of these pages. Now, if I just minimize this again, go to my Visual Studio Code, and I just pull my index, if I can grab it, into my Visual Studio Code, do a quick format. And now you can see instead in front of each of these we have a slash, many slashes, forward slash I think that is. If we just remove those, I'm just going to start from bottom, and let's see what that actually does. Again, you don't have to do this, just following the screen is fine for now. And I click save, go back, and now everything is actually being shown in here. But that's kind of stupid for us to have to do this for each time. Maybe images, you need to do the same as well. So again, I don't know why they're doing this, but it doesn't work on my machine at least. Maybe the same for yours. So I need to somehow make Vue change this so it doesn't do this little slash in front of all these links here. Now, we already created a Vue file here to import our variables in here. So that's great, right? Now we can use this as well to change how it builds things. So the path, and if you need a little slash in front of it and so on. And you can do a quick search for deployment and then just Vue CLI, and you hopefully get to this page, or you can just type it in this part here, no, not this part, like so, and then you'll hopefully get to this page, but it should be easy to find. If you scroll down a little bit, there's many things here you can read, but for now let's just stick to the things we need, right? And the second one we have with code here, we just need to copy these three lines here. So public path, we're going to copy this and these things, and I'll explain a little bit what they do in a little bit. So back to your code, and let's put it on top here instead of below. So yours looks like this. Enter, and then paste this in. And remember to do a comma separation here, so it knows one is a public path and one is for CSS, just like we would normally do. And now these lines, I don't know why they're here. I don't really care. Now, this is now indicating if we're doing a production, this is the path we want to do. So this is actually set up for a subpath, a subfolder. So if we're doing a production, if this is true, then you're going to run the first one. So this is actually based on an if-else statement here. So if this is true, you print it out for this path. Or if it's not true that you're doing production, you use the slash here. But what we wanted to do, this is what it is as a standard. But what we wanted to do is we want to remove this one. We don't want this one anymore, so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to do a quick save, and then we're going to go back to our terminal down here, do an npm run build. I don't know if I have to spell it correctly with a D at the end here, and then have this run through again, and hopefully in a little while, once this is done loading, I'm going to import my index into my Visual Studio Code again, and then you can see all these slashes has been removed, and we can open up in our browser. Cool. So let's go back to this. Let's go into the distance folder, destination folder, and let's drag this back over here, do another format, and now you can see all the slashes here are gone. That means we don't have to do it manually, and we hopefully can now. It's a little wonky when we're doing this in our own browser right now. We have this up here, but we're not printing out the actual content of the page. Don't worry about that now. If I click this, it's going to, you saw it quickly, right? It showed, but then it crashes because of the path. Whatever. This will be fixed once we uploaded it, so don't worry about that part. But in the next video, after of course you make sure this works, it looks like it should, we're going to upload this to an FTP so we can see that everything works, and what to do? Then we created our first build with Vue, and that's it.